One word to describe my mother, she was a dynamo. She was a tornado from Kansas.
As my dad used to say, you can take the girl out of the prairie, but you can't take the prairie out of the girl. She just did her own thing and didn't care what people thought.
Grammy, for me, she was a really special woman.
She was a huge leader to me in her faith.
What she decided to do when she was 71, of all things, she started her first school. When people are starting to retire at 65, at 71, she was just getting going with a second career. She'd raised her 10 kids, and she was still healthy. She had things to do, and she had things she wanted to do, and things she believed in. And so that was the advent of the schools. It was a lot of work getting it off the ground, finding teachers, finding a building, trying to make it financially solvent. And it took quite a few years to do that. But as they did it, more people came, more people got interested, and they started other schools. My mom had 3 careers. So the first career would be as homemaker, wife, and mother. The second career would be as church and community volunteer. And the third career was starting those 5 schools and basically being the president of those schools.
The one thing I would like to say about my mom, which I have really felt for a long time now, a couple of decades, is that she is the most liberated woman I think I know. She decided to marry a man from the East Coast. She, bucked the system and had lots of kids and was fully involved in our educations growing up, fully involved in natural family planning, fully involved in politics. She protested the Vietnam War down in Philadelphia with a baby under each arm. She had a nephew that she was very close with that went over there and fought. So she felt strongly about everything: religion, education, politics, the arts. She was accepted into, I think it was an exclusive art program at the Barnes Museum, and it was very hard to get into, and they brought her in, they accepted her, and she decided that she actually wouldn't do it after all because she wanted to spend time with her kids, and she knew that it would divide her time too much. The Archdiocese of Philadelphia offered her a job heading up the education department, and she decided to turn it down because she wanted to be home with the kids. Everything she did in her life was a choice.
Sometimes people they regard as labeled as conservative, they don't see them as liberated, but she did more for women and women's rights than a lot of liberal women do, because she wasn't sacrificing anything. She was not going to sacrifice her fertility. She was not going to sacrifice her gender, and she was willing to sit there and play in the men's arena, and she did so finely. But at the same time, she was going to maintain her femininity, and she was going to add feminine qualities to it. And she loved the fact that she could be a stay-at-home mom.
One thing that always stood with me was we used to take these trips to the orchestra down in Philadelphia, and one year I think we had the most of our grandchildren ever, and it was probably around 20 to 30 of us. She was just so strong and powerful that, she could contain 20 grandchildren, and it was not a problem. No one batted an eye. She was just that special of a woman, so that's what she meant to me.
There's the old expression, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. A lot of people think it's so important to have a career. She never got a paycheck, but she's had 3 careers. And she didn't have to worry about money because my father ran a business, and even when that business struggled, God took care of all that stuff. She was able to do what she had to do, and whatever surplus they had, they gave back to the community. I know, my parents gave away 40 to 60% of everything they got, but they always made sure that they did the 10%. They always made sure that they tithed.
She was a huge leader to me in her faith, and any moment she could, she would talk about the Lord and just who he meant to her. And so when I was young, she would have these saint coloring books, and she would always give them out to the girls and some of the guys too, and she was just like have at it, go color. She gift them to us, and we would just spend all day coloring these saints, and it was just so fun because it was something she was really passionate about, and you could see the joy in her eyes when she was passing that along to her grandchildren, and you could tell she was happy and she found joy in her family because God and her family were the most important things to her.
As my dad used to say, you can take the girl out of the prairie, but you can't take the prairie out of the girl. She just did her own thing and didn't care what people thought. She was wild like the prairie. And the other thing he used to say was, Barb is a real executive. She could run General Motors if she wanted to. And then he would say, but thank heavens for me, I'm a Ford man myself. But it was true. She was a woman of incredible strengths in many aspects of life, and she was fully liberated.